All right, today we are going to start a process called linear programming. And linear programming is something or a mathematical process used to determine like a maximum profit, or if you want to minimize the amount of costs you want to spend on a particular item. So it will address multiple items happening within a scenario. So what we're going to do, I'm going to break this section up over 3 days. Today we are only going to deal with part of page 19, and then we'll pick the rest up later. All right, so example 1, let's read through example 1 because there is a lot of information within this paragraph. It says, a potter wants to make and sell serving bowls and plates. A bowl uses 5 pounds of clay. A plate uses 4 pounds of clay. He has 40 pounds of clay and wants to make at least 4 bowls. He makes a profit of $35 per bowl and $30 per plate. How many bowls and how many plates should the potter make in order to maximize his profit? So he's wanting to make these items. He wants to make as much money as possible. All right, so step 1, we are going to define our variables. So I'm going to say that we want to let x equal the number of bowls. Okay, and then the other item he's making are plates, so we're going to let y equal the number of plates. Okay, so the number of bowls and number of plates. Part B says to write the profit-cost equation, which is also called the objective function. So, of course, the word profit means money. How much money do we want to make? And the word equation means it has an equal sign in it. So I'm going to write not an inequality, but an equation here. So I'm going to always start with the letter P because that stands for profit, and it's going to be P equals. Now, my profit equation has to do with the money, since it's profit, in the directions. So come back up to the top here. The first number we have is 5 pounds. That is not money. 4 pounds is not money. 40 pounds, again, is not money. 4 bowls is not money. All right, here we go. He makes a profit of $35 per bowl and $30 per plate. Now, we said that bowls were X and plates were Y. So those are the 2 items in my equation. So I'm going to have P equals 35X plus 30Y. Okay, so however many bowls we come up with, he will make a profit of $35 per bowl. All right, now we're going to write the linear inequalities. Now remember, inequalities are going to be greater than, less than, greater than or equal, or less than or equal. So these do not have equal signs in them. And we call these constraints because these are basically requirements within the problem. So on this first example, I have gone ahead and listed the constraints in the problem. So I've given us some hints right here. First one, he cannot make a negative number of plates. So I want to write an inequality that represents not having negative plates. So we said that plates were Y. And if I don't want Y to be negative, that means it can be 0 or above. So Y is greater than or equal to 0 would be one constraint. In the directions, it talked about bowls. It did tell us, where is it? He wants to make at least 4 bowls. So that is another constraint. He wants to make at least 4 bowls. So bowls were X. So I'm going to have X, and I want it to be at least 4. So that means it could be 4 or 5 or 6. So that would be greater than or equal to 4. The final constraint back up in the problem says that a plate uses, oops, I'm sorry, not that one. Back up. That he has 40 pounds of clay. So he only has 40 pounds of clay to use. Back up again. 5 pounds is necessary for a bowl. 4 pounds is necessary for a plate. So, right here, can use up to but not more than 40 pounds of clay. So if it's 5 pounds for a bowl, that would be 5x. I'm going to combine that, so I'm going to add that to the amount for a plate. 4 pounds for a plate, 4y. So he can't go over 40, but he has 40. So it's going to have to be less than or equal to 40. Okay, so this is the first step of linear programming, is when we have to define everything, write the profit-cost equation, and write the constraints. Okay, so one thing I want you to see is I have a equation with an equal sign for P, which is profit, and I have constraints. The number of constraints really goes with the scenario. So that's where we're going to stop for today. I would like you to go ahead and make a summary, talk about linear programming. You probably might have still lots of questions since we haven't done a whole lot. So please take the time to write some questions down. We can address those later. And when you are finished with that, you may start your assignment.